Hey, I'm going to do good for my parents with your credit card. What do you mean? You don't understand. So, I'm going on a trip with my parents using your credit card. I see, that's what it's about. I guess it was for this trip that Phyllis came to our house with her mother the other day. I think her mother must be aware of this fact, but I suspect her father doesn't know. And the fact that my son, Jack, wasn't mentioned in this conversation means he probably won't be going on the trip. I've indulged Phyllis' whims until now, but I'm reaching the limit of my patience with her do-as-she-pleases attitude. Phyllis probably thinks that I, always so kind, would never get angry and punish her. However, she should look back on her actions, which have been nothing but self-indulgent, and regret them. I am Amelia Caldwell. I am 52 years old. After graduating from university, I was able to find employment at a well-known mid-size company and met my husband there, who was visiting as a client. My husband was a man of few words, but our relationship progressed smoothly, and we got married. Even after our marriage, life was mundane but happy, and we had 2 children. I took maternity leave and later returned to work, but juggling childcare and a job was quite hectic. However, my husband was very supportive, and despite the busy days, I was happy. As the children entered middle school, the burden of childcare gradually lessened, and I took on my current position. Around the same time, my husband was transferred, his new department required more travel, and he started to be away from home more often. When my husband's overnight stays suddenly increased, I suspected infidelity, but that was just my needless worry. He was indeed very busy, traveling here and there every day for work. Nevertheless, no matter how busy he was, he always made it home for the children's school events, and because he earned a higher salary from his business trips, I had no complaints. Now, our 25-year-old eldest daughter, after graduating from junior college, went abroad and is living a happy life in a foreign country. I think it's about time for her to consider marriage, but I haven't heard any such news yet. The last time I saw my daughter was at my son Jack's wedding ceremony. Even though we cannot meet in person, we communicate via video calls several times a month, so I quietly watch over her without pressing for information about marriage or her lifestyle. Jack, now 28, got married last year to a woman named Phyllis. Initially, the plan was not to live together, but since my husband was on assignment far away, and Jack often had to travel, it was suggested that it might be better for the 2 women to live together and support each other, and I reluctantly agreed. Before marrying Jack, I thought Phyllis was a bright woman who could clearly express her thoughts. However, once we started living together, it became clear she had a tendency to splurge and was quite selfish. Right after we started living together, she didn't hesitate to speak to me in a casual tone. I could have tolerated that much, but to my dismay, she didn't do any household chores, despite being a stay-at-home wife. One holiday, about a year after we started living together, when Jack was away on a 2-month business trip, the following occurred. "Hey, Mother, can you do this laundry by tomorrow? I want to wear it the day after tomorrow when I go out. Don't forget, okay?" "Look, Phyllis, you say do the laundry, but I have an important meeting tomorrow and need to leave early in the morning. I'll be back late, so it's absolutely impossible. Can't you do it by yourself?" "Unbelievable. I'm going shopping with Mom tomorrow, and I have a nail salon appointment, so it's impossible. There's nothing I can do." "Whatever, then. Oh yeah, I'm going out to eat with a friend now, so give me some money for dinner, including the cleaning fee, and as an apology, I'll need around $500. "Huh, dinner and cleaning, that doesn't cost so much, does it? Besides, I heard you get an allowance from Jack every month, don't you?" "Yay, I get some, but it's just a little. It's gone after a bit of shopping." "Phyllis, just how much allowance do you usually get from Jack?" About $1,000. "Oh, I already spent $1,800 this month because I wanted new cosmetics." "What, you always get that much from Jack? How can he manage to live on what's left?" I do give Jack his bank card, but I hold the bank book since I'm managing our finances, so it's not like I'm getting money from him. It's more like I'm using it as I please. What? How did it come to this? Does Jack know about this? Maybe he doesn't know. I'm not sure. Well, anyway, hurry up and give me the money. It's almost time to meet my friends. Reluctantly and against my will, I gave Phyllis the money. Since this situation occurred frequently, I called Jack to report what was happening. It seemed that Jack promptly admonished Phyllis upon hearing this. The next day, after finishing a busy day at work and returning home exhausted, I found Phyllis and her mother, Nadine, in the living room. I'm home. Oh, Nadine, you're here. Did Phyllis contact me? Sorry, I didn't notice any calls. Is something wrong? I didn't contact you or anything. More importantly, mother-in-law, you said something to Jack, didn't you? I was having a great meal with my friends yesterday, and he suddenly scolded me, which totally ruined my mood. Exactly, Amelia. What have you done to my sweet daughter Phyllis? Isn't it natural for a wife to manage her household's finances? Plus, she's taking care of your chores and even looking after you, and you're saying she can't shop. Don't you feel sorry for Phyllis? What? Chores? Doing chores? Sigh. I would be grateful if she did them, but the truth is, she does nothing, and I'm the one looking after Phyllis. Well, I can't believe you saying this. You're too much. I'm trying so hard here, right, Mom? Indeed, Amelia. Don't you think you're being too harsh? Phyllis is very kind and sensitive. Can't you treat her a little more gently and kindly? Kind and sensitive? You must be joking. She's quite the spendthrift, demanding one thing after another. Well, Jack earns well, so it's fine, right? You and your husband work too, so money shouldn't be a problem. It's only natural to spoil such a cute daughter like Phyllis. I was so appalled by such selfish reasoning that I no longer had the energy to argue back. With a sigh, I dragged my tired body to my room to drop off my things. Dealing with these two troublesome people after coming home tired was not what I wanted to do. While changing from my work clothes to more comfortable home attire, I heard Phyllis and Nadine still complaining in the living room. Subsequently, with the living room occupied by Phyllis and Nadine, I had to hastily finish my dinner at the small kitchen table. Even as I ate, I could hear their complaints about me, my husband, and Jack. Forced to listen to such conversations, I felt extremely uncomfortable. It was my home, and yet why did I have to be so cautious and uncomfortable? I decided to take a bath for a change of pace. With my mood soured by those two, I planned to take a longer bath than usual, bringing a novel with me to the changing room. While I was soaking in the tub, I heard some noises from the changing room. Assuming it was just Phyllis removing her makeup as usual, I continued bathing without much concern. After getting out of the bath, Phyllis and her mother were nowhere to be seen. I found it odd until I received a text from Phyllis stating, "I'll be staying at my parents' house for a while." Upon reading that text, I actually felt relieved. Since I had work the next day, I decided to go to bed early. The next morning, while stopping by the convenience store, I checked my wallet and realized the money that should have been there was gone. I had withdrawn $1,000 the day before because I had payments to make. A bad feeling washed over me, and I hurriedly called Phyllis. Hello, Phyllis. Sorry for calling so early in the morning. I wanted to ask you, do you know anything about the money that was in my wallet? You just noticed now. Yesterday, while you were in the bath, I unlocked your room and let myself in. I took your money and jewelry as compensation for hurting my feelings. I'm on my way back now, so make sure you don't get in my way, okay? Phyllis said something unbelievable as if she didn't feel any malice and then abruptly hung up the phone. In a panic, I repeatedly tried to call Phyllis, but she turned off her phone, nor did she answer. In the midst of this, I realized it was time for me to go to work, so I emailed Jack about what had happened and rushed to my job. After work, I hurried home and called Jack to check in. Hello, Jack. Sorry to bother you when you're busy. The content of the email I sent you this morning is everything. Did she say anything? I've been calling Phyllis many times, but she's not answering. I've also called her parents' house, but only my mother-in-law answers, and she says she doesn't know where Phyllis is and hangs up quickly. It might be different if my father-in-law would answer the phone. I see. Hey Jack, do you think you can come back for Thanksgiving? Thanksgiving? Yeah, I think I can make it back. I'm planning to talk to Phyllis directly then. That's good. Dad is also planning to come back then. Let's all gather together. I'll be waiting. With that, I hung up the phone with Jack and wondered why he married such a woman. Thanksgiving holiday starts on the Thursday after the next. I went to bed pondering whether I should suggest to Jack to divorce Phyllis during that time. Since that day, there had been no contact from Phyllis, and the weekend had arrived. I had work until Saturday morning, so it was only in the afternoon that I noticed Phyllis had finally contacted me, and I called her back after returning home. Hello, oh, is that you? What took you so long? I was working this morning, so, what do you want now? Did you call to apologize? What, are you still mad? Hohaga, that's not important right now because I'm going on a trip. Go ahead, is that all? I'm going to do good for my parents using your credit card. What do you mean by that? You don't understand. So, I'm going on a trip with my parents using your credit card. My card. That's what I'm saying. We're about to board the plane, so I'll have to hang up for now. I'll let you know once we get to the destination. After saying that one-sidedly, Phyllis hung up without waiting for my reply. That evening, when my husband and son Jack came home, I explained the situation to them. Jack seemed to have made some decision after learning of Phyllis's outrageous behavior, and said, "I'll be right back," before heading out. After a while, Jack returned with something in hand. Seeing it, I thought my chance to admonish Phyllis had come. I expected Phyllis to call again in the evening, bragging, and as expected, she called. I decided to answer the phone on speaker so that both Jack and my husband could hear. Hello, Phyllis dear. Have you arrived at your destination? What happened? Mother, right now, I'm in front of the hotel we're staying at tonight, so I thought I'd give you a live report. Oh, and Dad said he felt bad about you being the only one to pay for the trip, so he paid for the plane tickets. You should be grateful. Is your father too planning to spend my money like you? No way Dad would think that. It's supposed to be that you and Jack gave us money for a family trip during Thanksgiving. Then Dad said, if that's the case, mother-in-law and everyone should join us, and it was hard to deceive him. You know, Dad gets really scary when he's serious, so of course I can't tell him the truth. Anyway, Jack won't be coming back anyway, and since you don't have your card, you might as well just watch TV or something, right? Huh, what are you talking about? My credit card is safely in my wallet. What, in your wallet? After our call the other day, I frantically checked inside my wallet, so there's no mistake. The credit card is still with me right now. What? That can't be right, because I definitely have it here. Maybe you looked wrong, didn't you? Because I am sure I have the credit card with me. So, did you find it? Hey, what's this? This isn't a gold credit card. It's just a normal yellow point card. Why? How did this happen? Just as I thought, after our phone call the other day, I checked and the credit card was there, but for some reason, the supermarket point card was missing. I did think it was strange. Could it be that you confused the color gold with yellow? Were you planning to go shopping and stay at hotels with that? That's impossible, isn't it? Or did you not even know that? I know that much. This stupid supermarket point card is useless. Look, the room was so dark, I couldn't tell the difference between the cards. But what should I do? I already told Dad I'd pay for everything, including the hotel. Oh, so you didn't turn on the lights in the room? Ah, that explains it. I wondered why all the cheap jewelry was missing too. So, what are you going to do now? You're going to report what you do for us, right? Wet. Those accessories were just cheap things. I was planning to sneak out before you came out of the bath, because, you know, I was in a hurry. Hey, by the way, could I ask you for a favor? Sneak out or not, I wouldn't have known if you turned on the lights while I was bathing. So, what is this favor you're asking for? Ah, true, the lights didn't matter. Anyway, my favor is, I need to borrow some money. It will be a disaster if Dad finds out. Could you transfer it to me right away? Oh really? And how much do you need exactly? You're going to help me out? Oh, thank you. Let's see. The hotel room for $3,000 a night, and I'm staying for 3 nights, so that's $9,000. Plus, I want to use room service and go sightseeing. So in total, I need about $20,000. Well, staying in such an expensive room, are you? What's wrong with that? Hurry up and transfer the money. Dad's going to find out. Obviously, I'm not going to do that. And even if I did lend you the money, how do you plan to pay it back when you're unemployed, Phyllis? I'll figure that out later, so just lend me the money, please. As I said, it's impossible. Why don't you just give up and come back? No, why, that's cruel. Hey, Mom, Amelia's being mean to me. Hello, Amelia. Hey, you're being rather harsh on Phyllis. Just do as she says, otherwise you'll be in trouble later. No matter what you say, it's impossible. Are you threatening me? Oh my, to call it a threat, I'm just advising you that if you don't comply, don't blame me for what happens later. You'd better just pay the $20,000 stat. I've already told you, it's not possible. Please tell Phyllis to come back home. Besides, Jack is saying he has something important to discuss with her. Wait a minute. Jack's there with you? Yes, he's right here. Actually, he's been listening to the whole conversation because it's been on speakerphone. What? Hey, you jerk, don't mess with me like that. What are you doing? Didn't I say you were on speaker? Watch your language, or maybe that is your true nature showing through. Anyway, come back soon. All right, I'm hanging up now. Phyllis seemed to be saying something on the other end of the line, but I deliberately ignored it and hung up. It was getting late, almost 10 p.m., and even if she left immediately, she wouldn't be back until tomorrow. Therefore, we decided to go to bed early to prepare for the next day. The next morning, the doorbell rang insistently at the crack of dawn. As expected, when I checked the monitor, there stood Phyllis with a sullen expression and Nadine, with Max looking disgruntled behind them. I invited the 3 of them in, and we all gathered in the living room. Then, Max immediately began to speak. I've heard the story from Nadine and Phyllis, but I came here to find out what the truth is. Is that so? I'm not sure what you have been told, but could you share your side of the story? First, what I've heard is that there was talk of a family trip, and Phyllis was supposed to get some money for it, but that money was taken away to embarrass Phyllis on the spot because you always bullied her. That's the story I heard. What an elaborate lie. I haven't given any money, nor have I ever bullied my daughter-in-law. As I marvel at such a lie, I see Phyllis sticking out her tongue slightly and clinging to Nadine. She showed no remorse and instead mocked me, which made me furious. That's a complete lie. Let me now present the evidence and explain the truth. I showed Max the details of Phyllis's everyday expenses, the amount of money she borrowed from me, and provided detailed explanations for each item, including recordings and emails of verbal abuse. I also talked about Nadine's unreasonable behavior. As I exposed their numerous improper actions, Max's face turned red, while Nadine and Phyllis, who were listening, grew pale. And when the explanation was over, Max kneeled down and apologized. I see, with such evidence, you two can't deceive or escape the situation. I am truly sorry for the trouble my family has caused. My apologies. No, Max, please don't apologize. I'm not angry at you, so it's all right. But I was unaware of some things. I haven't been monitoring things at home well enough. No, Max, it's all right. There's no need for that. Jack, I am really sorry for having such an incompetent daughter. Phyllis, we're done. Let's get a divorce. What? No, we can work it out, can't we? Don't say divorce. You used up even the money I had saved when I was single, right? And I've heard you've been going to a lot of mixers behind my back. I got the photos sent to me by a friend who was there. He says he's met you several times. No, that's a lie. It's not true. You're mistaken. That wasn't me. Enough, Phyllis. Stop making excuses and trying to lie your way out of this. You've been going out every night, haven't you? I've been keeping track of the money you borrowed from me ever since you moved in. It's a substantial amount, isn't it? Shut up. I don't care about the money right now. It's not like it's a lot anyway. Well, it's $30,000 as of now. What, Mother? How much did you just say? I said, it's a total of $30,000, but to you, it's not a lot. Hey, Phyllis, what on earth are you doing with all that money? No, I've been giving the money to Mom. I didn't spend that much by myself. I have emails showing I lent money to Mom. Here, look. As she defended herself, Phyllis showed us the email exchanges with Nadine. In those emails, Nadine, her mother, was telling her to ask me for money. She was using it to gamble. Hey, Nadine, haven't you stopped gambling yet? I paid off the $15,000 debt you accumulated from gambling before Phyllis was born. You're not in debt again, are you? What debts? Now is not the time for your issues. We'll talk about this later. First, we have to deal with Phyllis. Phyllis, aren't you borrowing money too? I accidentally saw inside your room the other day when it was open. It seemed like there were several loans. Hey Phyllis, you've been cheating, spending other people's money, and you've even gotten into debt. Tell me the truth. How much do you owe now? $24,000. That's it. Let's get divorced now. I can't be with you anymore. What? No way. I'm definitely not going to divorce Jack. Hey Phyllis, that's enough. Stop embarrassing yourself like this. To everyone at the Caldwell family, I am truly sorry for this discourtesy. I sincerely apologize. If Phyllis doesn't agree to the divorce, then I think it will have to be decided in court. Could you please wait just a little bit? I'll try to persuade Phyllis myself. If she still refuses to agree to the divorce after that, then please proceed with legal action. Understood, if you say so. Yes, that's fine with me too. I'll be waiting for your contact. Max said this and then took Phyllis, who was crying and throwing a tantrum like a child, and Nadine, who was in a daze, by the arm and took them back home. My husband, who had always put our desire for revenge against the treatment we had received from Phyllis and Nadine first, probably wanted to complain, but he patiently endured and watched over the situation. The next day, Max visited our house alone. Phyllis and Nadine were being watched by relatives so they wouldn't run away. He had the divorce papers for Jack and Phyllis, but he had also brought another document. Yesterday, I persuaded Phyllis and forced her to write the divorce papers. I am truly sorry for the trouble. Also, Nadine and I are getting a divorce too. She had secretly accumulated debts of $40,000 again, all from illegal lenders, and I can no longer help her. So much debt. You have been through a lot, Max. While we were having this conversation, we heard voices that seemed to be Phyllis and Nadine's coming from somewhere. Paying attention to the direction of the voices, we heard them yelling loudly in the garden. Pa, it's definitely because of that woman. I'm sure of it. Exactly. So infuriating. We will make sure to ruin her life too. Hey, you two. What in the world are you doing here? What happened to the man watching you two? That wimp relative of yours easily went down with a single tackle from me. You two are really the worst. Please, Amelia, I'll keep the two of them here, so call the police. Are you okay? Max understood. I'll call the police right away. My husband had heard the exchange and had already reported to the police. As a result, police officers arrived within minutes, and Phyllis and Nadine were quickly taken to the police station. Amelia, I apologize for the inconvenience once again. Regarding this matter, feel free to make additional demands for compensation. Max, I'm also going to submit the divorce papers now. Let's go together. Jack, I've caused you trouble. I'm truly sorry. All right, let's go together. After that, I got in touch with a reliable lawyer recommended by an acquaintance of Max's and made a claim for $34,000 combined for the money I lent to Phyllis and for this incident. Jack won a compensation of $120,000 for the affair and Phyllis's wasteful spending of his savings. Max decided not to demand compensation, instead requesting funds for moving expenses. And we, concerned about Phyllis and Nadine's potential retaliation, requested for a restraining order. It was settled that if the restraining order was violated, an additional $10,000 would be added to the compensation claim. Then that evening, the doorbell rang. Wondering who it could be, I checked the monitor, and to my surprise, it was Nadine standing there. Reluctantly, I decided to listen to her through the intercom. Nadine, what do you want? Can't you please go home? You know there's a restraining order, right? What? Why? You hurt Phyllis, my dear daughter, and destroyed my happy life. I'll never forgive you. Hey, come out right now. Nadine, you know there's a restraining order, right? Also, you seem quite threatening. It's frightening. Stop the chatter and come out already. Just come out. If you don't come out, I'll break through this door. If you don't want it broken, come out right now. While saying so, I felt terror as I witnessed the violent actions of Nadine, who was kicking the front door and shouting loudly. My husband, seeing her behavior, went to the entrance and silently detained her. Then, the police officers, who had been notified, arrived, and we handed Nadine over to them. Even as she was being taken away in the police car, she continued to rage and hurled insults at us. Hey, all of you, I will never forgive you, understand? No matter if I get caught or what happens, I will never forgive you. I'll be back again soon. After being taken away by the police, Nadine was judged to be at risk of reoffending and was incarcerated in prison. Since then, our home has regained its peace, and we have lived without issues. Jack had forgotten to block or reject calls from Phyllis, and it seems he received an email from her about reconciliation. It seems like after thinking it over, I was the one at fault. I've finally realized that you are all I have, Jack. Also, I'm actually carrying your baby, so please reply, I beg you. Jack decided to consult a lawyer to verify this fact. However, it turned out that Phyllis's pregnancy story was a lie, a fabrication to get back together. Despite this, Phyllis continued to send messages. Hey, don't go snitching to the lawyer every time. If you're a man, come and see me directly. Jack, you said you'd love me forever no matter what happened. Was that a lie? I will always love you. I can't give up. Fed up, Jack contacted his lawyer again, leading to an additional demand for compensation. Jack even changed his mobile phone number to ensure no further contact from Phyllis. By now, Phyllis is probably working tirelessly to pay off the debts she borrowed for the alimony payments. There was also a rumor that Jack's friend spotted someone who looked like Phyllis working at a nightclub, but it's unclear if it was actually her. As for Nadine, starting over in life will likely be difficult due to her age, but since Phyllis is younger, I hope she will sincerely reflect and walk a new path in life. About a month has passed, and our days have returned to being peaceful without any problems. When I told this whole story to our eldest daughter overseas, she laughed throughout the conversation, maybe because it seemed like someone else's issue. It also appears that our eldest daughter has a new boyfriend and is considering marriage. She plans to bring him to meet us when she returns to the country soon. Hearing this, Jack said, I'll make sure to assess what kind of man he is, his nostrils flaring with determination. My husband, on the other hand, listened to the story about our eldest daughter silently, seeming a bit downcast. Since that incident, my husband spoke directly with his company, was released from his solo assignment, and returned home. His business trips also decreased compared to before, now lasting at most 3 days. My husband is still a man of few words, but he treasures me and remains the gentle husband he was when we first met, and that hasn't changed. Now, even if Nadine shamelessly shows up at our house again, with my husband present, I feel safe. I am truly grateful that I met and married my husband. We occasionally receive letters from Max, too, and it seems he is also enjoying his second life with Cest. Despite everything that has happened, we want to make our new life joyful and filled with happiness from now on.